You are now listening to the Sportz Nutz.
Yes, you are indeed. Welcome to the Sportz Nutz, y'all. This is episode officially number 72, but everybody really knows this is more like episode like 120 something, right? With all the shorts that we have and all the clips that we have. Hey guys,
no, you can't count those. You can't count those, Brandon.
It's can. Yeah. Hey guys, we have such a great episode lined up for you all. We have a very, very good family friend. I was actually just talking to him backstage before he came on. I've known this family going on 20 years. His name is Sam Fehoko. He is the assistant linebackers coach at Northeastern State University. His parents are I call them Auntie and Uncle, Auntie Linda Fehoko and Uncle Billy Fehoko, Braden, VJ, everybody part of the Fehoko Ohana. They are here to watch as well. So if you guys give a chance, give them a shout out. They are some of the absolute best people you will ever meet. I love them. They're genuine. They literally have. So everybody doesn't know this. Billy was the Billy the Warrior for the University of Hawaii. He has a heart of a warrior. He is a champion. The whole family, I love them. You guys will learn to love them too. Before we get going though, my man sitting right here, Mr. Hank Russell, how we doing, brother?
Oh man, I mean, I'm all right. I'm a little groggy. I had a root canal done yesterday, and after the numbness wear off, he was so good the tooth didn't hurt, but my shoulder hurt because he kept leaning on it the whole time while he's working on me. So now my shoulder's been hurting for the past 2 days because of that. All from a root canal. So, but I got my baby powder on, ready to go.
There you go. All right, so my man sitting right here. Gosh darn it. There we go. Caddy corner, Mr. Matt Thomas, the man who, and I quote said, my schedule is going to get a lot weaker. I'm going to respond to all your text messages. Didn't respond to anything, but he's been busy working his backside off, getting everything ready for the show, guys. Matt, how are you doing, sir?
Brandon, you know how it is, man. Everything's all good. Everything's lovely. About to enjoying these 3 days, first of 3 days at home doing nothing with my mini staycation. So, hey, man, looking forward to it.
Yeah, and just so y'all know, Matt, he literally works like from sun up to sundown and then some. So we're always glad to have him come on. We really appreciate it. Hey, this gentleman right there, Mr. Shane Owen, how you doing, sir?
Oh man, doing good. Up here in the mountains, still got snow on the ground. Fell outside on some ice earlier.
Oh my!
Getting groceries in. So man, just been hanging out, relaxing. You know, kind of waiting for this weekend of football to kind of come. See what we got, and then cap it off Monday night with the national championship. Man, gearing up for baseball season, NASCAR, everything. Man, it's hopefully we get this round of cold weather out the way and we can warm up and get in some spring sports.
Yeah, we're there. So obviously everybody up here in the upstate had hoped and prayed we were going to get this massive snowstorm. We may get an inch and a half, but yeah, Charleston, y'all, they're going to rack up on the snow. Wilmington is actually going to rack up on the snow. They're saying they could get up to a foot of snow in Wilmington, North Carolina. Shout out to everybody in Wilmington, indeed. Hey, real quick shout out to our good friend at the Down South Sports Fanatics podcast, Darren, Richie, and the crew, Poncho, Dave, everybody there. I hope you guys are doing well. Check them out. If you guys want some seriously good New Orleans content, Down South Sports Fanatics podcast is where you want to check them out. Give them a shout out, give them a follow, everything. Great group of guys. Love talking with them. All right, guys, I got to say this before we go to our sponsor. Look, I understand that it's a big news what happened today for women's college basketball. But guys, I'm thrilled to see what has happened with Dawn Staley. She's now the highest paid women's basketball coach in college history, making $4 million a year. This, guys, as everybody knows here that watch the show, we have been high on women's sports. Look, I am a girl dad of 4. Matt's a girl dad. Shane, unfortunately, he technically is a girl dad of Miss Lily. She's a good dog. And Hank, unfortunately, he's not there yet, but we will see. Maybe in the future he'll be a girl dad. But we are high on girl sports. We love it. My daughter Addison plays softball. She's doing really well. Season's actually about to start up. And then basketball, we won last night. We are 4-1 in regular season play, 3-0 in conference play. So, again, we have hyped on how much we love women's sports, and we are so excited for Dawn Staley. Coach Staley, we are tipping our caps to you that you are officially the highest paid women's coach ever, and we love it. Derek asked if South Carolina, will they surpass UConn as the best dynasty? It's possible. We have to see. Guys, let's give a quick shout out, to our lovely sponsor, Tequila's Grill and Easley. Check them out on Facebook. Look, guys, if you want some authentic, affordable, and delicious Mexican cuisine, then Tequila's Grill is where you want to go. 5455 Calhoun Memorial Highway, Easley, South Carolina, 29640. Matt has an absolute affinity love for literally every dish they have. Shane loves the homemade salsa bar, the buy one, get one 50% off happy hour drinks. I mean, guys, they literally have it all. Give them a call today at 864-307-8028. Again, that's Tequila's Grill in Easley. All right, guys, I got to tell you, I'm beyond excited. Let's get it going. Ladies and gentlemen, please, when I tell you this is, they absolutely are the best family. They really are. Coach Sam Fehoko is the assistant linebackers coach at Northeastern State University in Oklahoma. Coach Fehoko, how are we doing, sir?
We are good, man. We are excited. Thank you for having me on the show.
No, thank you for coming on. Like I said, we love having you on. Your family's wonderful. They're an extension of my family. I call your mom auntie. I call your dad uncle. They call me nephew. I love it. Like I said, they're the best. So I want to get the ball rolling right here, and I'm going to ask you this. How excited are you to get this season going? Because, I've looked at y'all's coaching staff, and I got to say, I smell significant change and excitement in the air. Am I right?
You're absolutely correct. Now, here's the thing. I think me stepping into this role has already generated a lot of excitement within the city of Tahlequah. And it's going to be it's going to be a very opportunistic environment, especially with the new players that are coming in, the mid-year signees that we've acquired. There's just so much to look forward to here in the city, in Tahlequah, Oklahoma, in Northeastern State University.
And look, so my first love is football. I remember it's actually basketball, but I love football. They're kind of like the same. Matt, same way too. He loves basketball. That's actually how Matt and I first met, was basketball. We have a mutual friend, Mr. Brian Greenblatt, who so graciously told me that Matt played for the Atlanta Hawks. It's not true. He tried out for it was the D League, didn't you, Matt? It was the D League, right?
D League around that time.
Yeah, back then it was called the NBA D League. Now it's the G League. He tried out for the Atlanta Hawks D League team, and so Brian was like, "Yeah, I have a friend who played for the Atlanta Hawks." I'm like, "Hey, let's bring him on." Matt and I we connected like instantly, and I've known Matt actually 21 years now. Yeah, I've known him for 21 years. He's a great friend, great advocate for the sport, but he loves football as well. And Shane is a very big football fan. He comes from a little small town as well. You may have heard of him. The Matt. Why don't you? Ask you, Shane. Tell him the small town where your Hokies are from, sir.
Oh yeah, well, just right outside of there is where I'm from in Radford, at Radford University. They were all women's school. The joke is, once they went co-ed, they've been undefeated in football since 1977. And they don't have a football team. So that's the joke around there. But only about 15 minutes up the road was Virginia Tech. So I'm a big Hokie, love going to the games, eating a big turkey leg every once in a while. Man, it's a good college football town. So man, it's great to be from there and go back up there and watch some games. Of course, any game to go watch live is a great pleasure to do.
So let me ask you this, Sam. Where did you get your inspiration to go to Northeastern State? I know you. So your mom kind of keyed me in a little bit and said that you're one of the best defensive readers. And, I can remember watching you actually play at Texas Tech. I remember seeing the energy you provided. All right. So I want to know, what was your inspiration for going to Northeastern State?
When I first heard about this job, I asked myself a couple of things. I asked myself if I was ready to get back into the coaching career, right? This is one of the professions that a lot of athletes hope for after their career done is playing, or after their career is done. So to me, I kind of sat back, I prayed about it. I started to kind of put everything in alignment with what I want to accomplish, where I see myself in the next 10 years or so, long-term wise, what do I want to do with this profession? So everything kind of mapped out to me taking on this role as an assistant linebackers coach, kind of having my own room, being able to be very influential, having the authority to kind of make it my own, establish the culture within the linebacker group, and then have them feed off and kind of resonate or express the same energy levels to the rest of the team. But Coach Cheverini had hit me up. I think it was the day after Thanksgiving. And he asked me, he's like, "What are you doing, man? We've got a spot open, and I think you'd be great for the job." So I immediately hit him back. I said, "Hey, where do I apply?" He said, "Just fill out this, that, and we'll get you on board." So it was a pretty quick opportunity for me to take advantage of. And I've been looking for something like this for quite a while, kind of just in the back. It's one of those things in your back pocket that you say, "You know what, man, if this ever comes around or shows up, let's go for it." So that's the idea. That's the mindset that I have right now is being able to take advantage of this opportunity and make the most of it.
And so my wife actually gave you a special shout out here and your family. She said, "Hello, Fehoko family. Thank you, Sam, for coming on." So yeah, like I said, you guys, I'm telling you guys have a lot of a love from us. But I want to ask you this. I know Northeastern State didn't have the best of seasons last year, 2-9. A couple games they were so close, and then a couple, unfortunately, they did not look their best. So I know you guys have a hurdle to go over to get the team back to the promised land. And I know how the kind of player you are, because you were a phenomenal player at Texas Tech. I still have, and I kid you, I still have the video of you doing the haka, and I sent it to your mom actually, and I said, "Linda, your son is doing the haka here," and I recorded it, and I think she still has the video too. I saw the video of you and your dad doing it with Braden actually, and like I said, one of the best defensive-minded players is you. What do you think is going to be the first challenge that you're going to have to present with your linebacking core?
Well, first of all, Cassie, hello. Love to you and the family. Northeastern State University, believe it or not, they've won 2 national championships. They have that under their belt. So they've been there before, right? You can't say that even though we're a program that does it as mediocre, right? When you look at Division II, it's an intermediate level, right, of football. But I think that's where you can create a lot of excitement. A lot of kids don't play up to the potential. And when you see them break that threshold, right, it takes you back and you say, whoa, there's a little bit of football there. So irregardless, right, when you look at football and when you take for it like the little things, the small details of the game and how that like brings everybody together, closer together, it establishes the culture, right? It starts to put more emphasis on what you guys believe and how you guys create an identity. And I think that's the one thing that we'll take on the field as a linebacker group is just being able to play with a lot of passion, a lot of emotion. I like to bring a lot of excitement and energy to our team. You know, there is a place where understanding the emotional intelligence, right, of the opposing team's strategy plays a factor. But at the end of the day, it's going to be that point of contact, right? When you're going against another individual, when you have to make a play in the open field. And those are the things that we want to bring out in these types of players. Because regardless, right, if you're smaller, you're undersized, or you're not built, or people say that you're not good enough to play in Division I, right? Or, you're the best player that we can have, or you transferred out of a Division I, right? For whatever reason, we still want to develop these guys to go on and play at the next level. I mean, the last person that came out of Northeastern State University was, I think his name was Turpin, and he played offensive tackle for the Seattle Seahawks. I'm not sure if you guys remember him. In 2013, he was drafted, but he was the last guy that came out of Northeast. So, I mean, still, you think about it, you've got a championship caliber under your belt. You have players that have made it to the NFL with the impression that we're not as good as we are, or we're not as good as you are. So it just kind of puts a chip on our shoulder, right? As somebody that would look in from the outside and say, this is not the place for you to play at a high level. I think competition is what breeds success. And regardless of our opponent, whoever he is or whatever that is on Saturday, we're going to go out there and beat him.
I like that mentality. Matt, you have a question. Go ahead.
Yeah. I know Brandon alluded to it, but Sam, once again, thank you for coming on with us, man, and kind of sharing your story and sharing what you're going through at the moment with us. But I want you to, for those who don't know your story, or those not familiar with you, I want you to kind of take it back, just like let's go back to high school. Just kind of let us know, how your high school career started, how it went, the whole recruiting process, what made you decide to choose the school you want to, and then going from college to where you're at now. Can you kind of just give us a little rundown of your journey?
Sure. So a little bit of history on my personal profile, right, as a football player, and I'll take it back to where I first began training for football, which was in the 8th grade, and I played intermediate ball at a private school. It was called St. Louis High School, right? And I think a lot of us are familiar with St. Louis. The Crusaders produce a lot of good talent, Heisman Trophy winners like Marcus Mariota. You even had a Heisman runner-up this past year with that kid Gabriel from Oregon. But I was training. I was in 8th grade, and I was out of shape, and I wasn't very strong, and I was undersized. But what really, I guess, help my work ethic is I had an older brother. We're 11 months apart, and he was kind of just like a very naturally gifted athlete. So I would follow him most of the time. We'd work out, and then we'd also do one-on-ones, right? Well, with one-on-ones, I always kind of wanted to be a linebacker, right? And my mindset was, man, I see a lot of good linebackers playing in the NFL. I see myself running around, tackling people, making a lot of noise, making a lot of big hits, right? So that was my initial impression. I wanted to be a linebacker, but everybody kept telling me that I had to play defensive line. And I would assume that's just because I wasn't physically gifted at the time, right? Just the expectation of where defensive lineman was versus linebackers. I fit the mold for more of a defensive lineman type. So in 9th grade, as I continued to go through high school, I played defensive line. Wasn't very good. I was actually like on the lower tier of all the athletes, right? One of those guys that backed up other players, such as Tyson Alualu, who played multiple years for Jacksonville. He also played for Pittsburgh. But those are the guys that I was backing up as a freshman. My sophomore year, we transferred over to a public school, and I was still training. I was still working hard. I lost a little bit of weight, and now instead of playing defensive tackle, I was playing defensive end. I still continued to go one-on-ones with my older brother. I got better. I got a lot better. I started to build more confidence in myself, my techniques, just the little things, my overall strength, right? So my sophomore year, I started to peak out. right? There's the leadership qualities that I was finding myself being more capable of, talking, being a little bit more vocal, celebrating after winning a play. So little things like that. So defensive end was now like my position. I always wanted to play linebacker, but now that I've seen the success that I had at defensive end, I said, let's play defensive end, right? I love getting to the quarterback, right? The sack, man, like people would just, you could stop the entire offense within 2 seconds of them snapping the ball, and our home team crowd would go crazy. So I love that feeling. I love that emotion. My sophomore year, I wasn't getting recruited as highly as I want to, but my parents had sent me to camps with my older brother. And that's kind of where we got exposure. We got a lot of recognition from coaches because my brother would perform really well. He would like kick people's butt. He'd put them on the ground. I mean, people would say, like, man, I like that kid. That kid's good. He's physical. He's strong, right? And then they would offer him. So he had like maybe 10, 12 scholarship offers as a junior. And that's what really opened the door up for my own personal high school football opportunities. After my brother kind of kicked open the door and he committed and signed to San Diego State, my opportunities, the first one that I received was San Diego State and Weber State. So Weber State at the time, they were like 1AA, but still it was like something in my back pocket too. I was like, oh yeah, heck yeah. It's another offer. Like the more offers come, the better. Then San Diego State just kept knocking on the door. They were like, hey, you're coming to play for us. We know how good you are. We know how good you can be. Like, just commit, just sign already. Like they kept giving me that kind of stuff. And my junior year came around and I started just killing it. Like everything. I'm talking about technique. I'm talking about sacks. I'm talking about block punts. I'm talking about like coming out the gate with my hair on fire. So after my junior year, I racked up like 12 to 15 scholarship offers. Late in the process, Texas Tech came in. I went to an All-American game in Louisiana, Shreveport, Louisiana. It's called Max M. Fingers All-American football game. I went against some of the best offensive linemen. There was Lee Zimba, who played for Auburn. There was another kid from Arkansas. There was just all the SEC schools, all their linemen was there. So I got to showcase my talent. And there was a guy named Curtis Salisbury who I guess heard through the grapevine that we could pull this guy away from San Diego State because I was committed at the time to San Diego State. And Curtis calls and he's like, yeah, so Coach Leach for the Red Raiders is interested in your son. What are his thoughts? And they're like, oh, you know what? He's committed already, right? And then Coach Leach gets on the phone. He's like, hey, I want to come and check out your son. And they're like, yeah, of course. You know, there's a lot of coaches that are coming in and still trying to sign him. It was like a month before signing day, and he's like, hey, just come out, just take a visit to the school, check it out. You know, we would love to show you what we're all about. We're in the Big 12. And I was like, oh, okay. You know, this sounds appealing. And sure enough, I take a visit there. I step in Lubbock for the first time and I'm like, whoa, it's a different vibe. To me, the ground was like shaking a little bit because I'm now in like territory of University of Texas. I'm now in territory of Oklahoma Sooners, Texas Christian University. So to me, I was like, holy crap, you know? So I look at their facilities. I'm like, that's nice. You know, San Diego State kind of has the same thing. And then for some reason, the defensive coordinator said, I want you to play linebacker. And I was like, oh, snap, linebacker. He's like, yeah, you're going to play linebacker in the next level. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. And that kind of like threw me off a little bit. Like it like almost like turned me a different way, right? It's something that was like driven in me because I was like, you know, at some point, these outside linebacker hybrid type of guys are gonna become the key players for the defense. They're edge rushers that takes on blocks, that rush the passer. they just do everything, right? And as I got to know more of the coaching aspect, that's where it develops. Like that's where you see a lot of athletes. DeMarcus Ware at the time was kind of that hybrid athlete, and he was just an all-star, all-pro for the Cowboys. Anyways, a week before signing day, he stops at my house again. I say, you know what? I'm going to decommit. I tell my parents, my dad is pissed. He was like, what? What do you mean? You know, I said, no, I'm gonna go to Texas Tech. And he threw his phone. He's like, man, get out of here, man. You know, this doesn't mean anything to me. Like he was pissed. My mom's crying. You know, my mom's just like sobbing, like, oh my gosh, you know, what's going on? And I think that's kind of like what really just like emotionally started to turn my family towards Texas Tech is I told him, I was like, Dad, ever since we were young, you always wanted us to play against the best, right? And I'm looking at him, he's like, because this is what he's telling me. He's like, I don't want you guys to graduate from the same high school that I graduated from. Fehoko was a top high school in Hawaii. They were the best, right? They were a powerhouse, and they just kicked people's butt. They call it like smash mouth football. And my dad played for the Stonewall defense. And it was kind of like a traditional Pittsburgh type of thing, you know, where it's like Steel Curtain, Jack Lambert, you know. To me, it had the same type of emotional excitement. But my dad said, you're not going to play for Fehoko. He said, you're going to play against Fehoko. You're going to play against somebody that the talent level, and you're going to show them who's better. So when it came down time to make my decision, I was like, well, you always told me that if I played against the best, that I would find out who I really am. And I think it just it kind of cut everything off, because like now he's thinking, he's like, well, you're a man. If you want to go to this school, you go to this school. You know, you go and play for this school, and I can't make decisions for you when you get there. So I signed with Texas Tech. I ended up playing under Leach for 3 years. There was a huge controversy. I don't know if you guys remember the Adam James thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was huge, and that got Leach out of the position. Yeah. And it like a bowl game came, we were like changing up the entire staff. I mean, I was splitting time with the middle linebacker. We were going like neck and neck. I'm talking about in the film room. If I didn't get hurt in the Kansas game, I would have been a full-time starter, like for the rest of my sophomore year. But first play against Kansas, I go in there. It was my split time. I go in there, dude yanks me down. I dislocate my shoulder. I'm looking, like my shoulder's inside my socket. I'm looking at the guys. I'm like waving. I'm like, hey man, you know, fix it. I gotta go back in there. And they try to turn it. I'm screaming on the side. I'm like, you know, like it's not going back, right? It's not like getting back in the right position. So the doctor they take me up there in the training room up in the hospital, and he's cranking my arm outside the opposite way. And finally it just gives in, and it shifts back into place. But if that injury didn't happen, I would have been a starter my whole sophomore year. That would have changed my entire career. But I didn't play until Oklahoma that same year, and we were just getting killed by then. Like the whole Big 12 was just like pouncing on us. You know, offenses were just picking their poison with our coverage. I mean, it was a struggle that entire 2009 season. I think it was 2010. But that's really what led up to my career in terms of like what position I wanted to play, right? What position I ended up playing, and then like my college career and what position that they put me at, right? And what was the best position for me to play at the next level. You know, I ended up going and trying out for Philly. I had an amazing opportunity to play in the league for maybe a month. but it was still so surreal, right? Every kid dreams about going to the NFL from Hawaii, right? Every single kid. You tell them, hey, one day you're gonna make it to the NFL. You're gonna. So when I got to the NFL and I had the Eagles like logo on my chest, and I was in the Eagles uniform and I was in the Philadelphia locker room, I was just blown away. I said, I want to do this for the rest of my life. But obviously things happen for a reason, right? And it just ended up one being another. I played arena football. I started moving a little bit more west, right? Everything started moving west for me. I started playing arena football. I started going back to even like Canada camps. People, my agent was telling me, hey, you know what? Maybe you should even think about international. And I didn't want to do that. But then time started to conspire, right? And my brothers were now like in their own element. My younger brother was at Utah. My youngest brother was about to be an All-American for the state of Hawaii. And then it just so happened that they both end up coming to Texas Tech. And at the time I was working. I was doing some type of education type of job, helping out in Lubbock. And they said, well, you know what? Let's have all three of them. So the graduate assistant position became open. My younger brother transferred from Utah, and then Braden had signed at Texas Tech out of high school. So that's kind of what got me up to this point in my coaching profession. And I've been out of the game for a couple years, but I'm back and I'm ready to take over.
And that's a great look. Your journey is one that, every kid aspires to have. They want to have that level of commitment from day one to day end kind of thing with football. I played football. I had a really good career in football. Unfortunately, my senior year in high school, I tore my ACL and MCL. And in 2002, they didn't have the technology that they have now. So my career was unfortunately done. But I never stayed away from the game. I've always loved it. And getting it, when you're right, when you're there, it's something about it that it hits home and it feels right, and everybody has purposes. God has plans for everything. And obviously, you're in the position that you're supposed to be in, and being a great leader for these young kids that are wanting to go to the next level and just have a career in life outside of football. I remember when I saw your younger brother Braden commit to LSU. That was a humongous move. That was a big move, going from a Big 12 team to an SEC level caliber team. Braden, had a great career at LSU. You yourself had the privilege of playing, at least being in the NFL. Your brothers have too. Braden plays for the Steelers. I can sort of picture right now seeing. I know your mom and your dad and everybody's watching right now. Can you describe how big of a smile it is right now that your parents know that you all have given your absolute best? The result. I tell my daughter this all the time. Give it your all. The results will come. Don't worry, it'll come. And, what is the level of excitement that your parents have, not only for you but for Braden, VJ, everybody? What is the excitement at your parents' home right now?
Well, my parents are excited. Like they're so happy. It's almost like a disguise. It's like a front that they put up. They're like, hey, just so you guys know, our sons are doing this. But I'll keep it real, and I'll be honest with you. Behind closed doors, It was hard.
Yeah.
Like with our family, sending us to camps, we were digging out of our pockets. My dad would say, hey, this is like the last dollar you got. You got to go make something out of it, So that level of emotion is hard to explain, but you can feel it. You can kind of just know that it's one of those things that as a son, right, it'll make you proud of who you are, knowing how exhausting it must be for every parent, hoping that their kid is successful, right? Hoping that like one day they make a name for themselves, right? And I think that's the one thing that my parents always dreamed for us, right? Came out here from the Pacific, second generation immigrants. Not a lot, but everything was about the land of opportunity, right? The American dream, right? How you gonna make it? It's inspiring, you know. For us, I mean, you think about it. For us, like me and my three brothers, we eat a lot. We eat a lot. There's a net weight of at least 1,000 pounds between three of us. That's not including the one that's in the NFL. So, I mean, just think about it, right? How much food we're taking in, right? How much we're taking from our parents, how much they're able to provide for us, what they're doing, right? Behind closed doors. And I would hear it. I would hear what goes on. It's tough. But it drove us. It put this like this fire, right? It's like you lit a match and it just burns. So for them, I'm forever grateful to be a part of this unit. I would always try to thank them whenever I can. And to me, thanks isn't enough. It's really not. Thanks is just a way for us to say I'm okay. You know, it's more of like showing them, right? Hey man, this is the opportunity that I'm ready to take. This is the new journey that I'm on. Are you guys ready? You guys ready to see what I got? Kind of thing. But yeah, they're excited, Brandon. And I couldn't express how much more I couldn't tell you guys how much more they mean to me. And how my brothers are such an impact in my life as well, and this new life that it brings me in this position, and what I can share to these young men to help them understand that the journey that they're on isn't going to be always a one track, right? There's going to be people that you meet, and that happens for a reason, and the experiences that you create in these little moments, right, that you share with each other is what helps understand your significance, what your position is, and how you can take that on as a man, as an individual, as a woman, and whatever field of expertise you choose.
I love that, and to see the emotion that you have. So, you know, I told you off air, I had a Widowmaker in July of 2023. It's the scariest situation anybody will ever have to go through outside of life. You know, life is hard as it is. No one, whoever tells you life is easy, it's not true. You know, my wife, she's been the rock for me and my four girls. And, you know, I tip my cap to mothers everywhere. Mothers, they are a breed unlike any other known to man. They, you know, there are so many countless stories that mothers can lift cars up to save their children, you know. And my wife, she's been there through thick and through thin. And, you know, you're right. Everything has a journey. Everybody has a path. This is the path you're supposed to be on. And you can't, it's hard to tell your loved ones thank you enough, because there's never enough thanks you can give. And, you know, your mom and your dad, you're basically your whole family. They took me in as a family friend. Your mom, your dad, your whole family, y'all are the most kind-hearted individuals. And I want to say thank you to your mom, your dad, and all your brothers, everybody, because, you know, I'm a nobody. Matt's a nobody. Hank, Shane, we're all nobodies, but you've taken us in, and you've shown us that this is what God has put us on this earth for, is to love each other, care for each other, respect one another, you know. And treat others the way you want to be treated. So, I love the amount of emotions that you show for your family. And I got to tell you, I'm gonna ask this for everybody. When can we get the tickets to come down there and watch you guys tear it up on the field? And I promise you, I will come hell or high water. I'm at least gonna be there, and I'm gonna be cheering you on from that silent as loud as humanly possible. So please let us know what all we can do to help get the name. Hey, look, Northeastern State, y'all, they have the best coaching staff. Get out there right now. What can we do to help bring more fans to you guys, more players who want to grow, learn, develop, and become great young men in this world?
I think when you talk about programs that don't have a lot of recognition, the easiest way to build from that point is just by encouragement, right? So whether it's like, I know like promoting the name Northeastern State, it has a lot of influence, but that goes in relation with success, right? And I think those two combinations make a very dangerous factor. But I would continue to support the Northeastern State University with just simple affirmation, like words of affirmation or encouragement. Go Hawks, right? Go Hawks, man. Keep it up. Go Hawks. Just the little things, because those little things do add up when that combination takes place, right? When we start winning and people are saying, oh man, he said go Hawks. Yeah, man, that was a while back. Oh man, now look at them. They're doing good. And then people believe in that, and people take that really seriously. Man, these guys are running from the get-go. These guys are clawing their way up, The story about Fehoko is interesting. And I read it. It's a Cherokee name. And it's powerful. But crazy. It was from so the Native Americans back when the Trail of Tears had occurred, right? When they were forced to move from the Southeast into this territory. The name, like the origin, started to trickle like in the 1800s or 1900s, but it was split up into two words. And the first word, sorry, give me 1 second. So the first word was Tali, right? And the second word, or the second half of it, is Yeliku. So the meaning was just two, or two is enough. But the legend says 3 tribal elders had planned to meet in determination of identifying the Cherokee Nation's permanent capital. 2 of the elders arrived, but not the third. So as the day conspired, as they're waiting for the third elder to show up, they don't. They just call it like it is. And they say, 2 is enough, which later became like Americanized as Tahlequah.
Wow, I like that.
So continuing to share like the story, right, of like the Riverhawks, right, and the origin, and make people more aware about it, right? Go Hawks, kind of start off with like, oh, what's the Riverhawks? Well, a Riverhawks is an osprey, right? An osprey is just one of those birds that go down and swoop up and catch fish. Right? You see the National Geographic videos, and it's pretty easy. Like, oh yeah, that's a Riverhawk. It just goes down there and catches fish. But then you dive a little bit more about the history of it, and you kind of tell the story about, okay, what does the name mean? And that to me is powerful enough to help support.
Man, that's actually really cool, and I love that. Like, oh, all right, Shane, you have a question. Go ahead and ask, man.
Oh yeah, man. Well, Sam, man, I want to dive back. You were talking about your recruitment, especially from Coach Mike Leach, which man, he was a great influence into the football world, man. And I'd like to know how your time was with him. And kind of, that being kind of family, because I've heard that he is such a, kind of a great kind of father figure. He seems eccentric, but he's a very family oriented, kind of grounded guy. And of course, we can see from your testimony and all today that, hey, that's one of the reasons why you chose to flip and go there. But in that same sense, after that, I'd like to hear, since we've all heard the outlandish things of Mike Leach, kind of what's one of your favorite memories of him as a coach, kind of that maybe people haven't heard of?
Mike Leach, I tell people this story all the time because it's funny, and it was part of my recruiting process. And I think people could relate to a lot of coaches that go in and sit down with families and they're like, well, what do they tell you before they sign? Right. And like with Mike Leach, what he did was funny because I'm not sure. A little history about Mike Leach. Mike Leach was actually a rugby player for Brigham Young University. Okay? So he knew a little bit about the rugby background, right? And if you know rugby, you know the All Blacks, right? Who are the All Blacks? They're the New Zealand team that performs one of the most craziest war dances, in history. Like Brandon said, you got a video.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the team that faced the South America or South Africans during the 1995 World Cup, correct?
That's correct. That's correct, and they were one of the toughest teams to beat at the time. But I think
I'm a closet rugby fan, so
yeah. I don't know if Jonah Lomu was still playing on that team, but Jonah Lomu was.
Are you talking about that big?
Yes,
he was like 6 foot. He was like 6'5", 285 solid.
Yeah, and he was just running over people. What? Yes, they also did the haka. So they did the war dance before every game. It's funny because everybody, they're beating their chest, they're freaking sticking their tongue out, and they're like, gazing at them with this like immense stare, right, in the opponent's eyes. But a lot of teams in Hawaii picked that up. They said we would love to practice or take on that practice in our own sport of football. But back to the Mike Leach story. The Mike Leach that I know came into my house. He sat down. Before he started saying anything, he just started doing the haka.
Really?
He started beating his chest.
To see Coach Leach doing that'd be cool.
Yes, man. He did that in my household, and my parents were freaking out.
Oh man.
Yeah, my parents were like, "What the heck? I've never seen this before." This is a different approach to wanting to sign my son. But after that, he did a couple magic card tricks with my brothers. It was VJ and Braden at the time. Braden was like young, Nobody knew Braden was going to be as good as he was. I mean, we kind of knew, right, how good Braden was going to be and how good VJ was in college. And it was funny to see them smile and laugh at Coach Leach. It was funny to see that because then their response to like him as a head coach, it almost felt like comforting, right? And when you feel that sense of comfort, you kind of lean more or you relax more in that direction, right? So, if there's anything like that wants to pull you in a different direction, you're saying, okay, well, tell me why, right? And you get like the inside scoop of, well, we want you to play this position and we know how good you can be, right? So they give you kind of like the ground, the breakdown, like the ground game of it all. But Mike Leach, another story, he always had us stand up in our meetings. He never liked to put the attention on him. That was the coolest thing about Mike Leach, is he always made us like do something as a team, right? And if there was ever if the direction was ever on him, he would always reference Pirates, right? Pirates was his go-to, He loved Pirates. I mean, you walk into his office, there was like pirate flags, there was pirate like models, like pirate ship models. I mean, he had books, swords, right? Even he wrote a book called Swing Your Sword, right? So he was kind of loony, I guess you would say, but he also had a cool method about using that and creating a cool picture, or putting this perception in our head that it was about a team. But he'd make us stand up, he'd make us read signs. I mean, he'd do like all all the different practices that you wouldn't normally see head coaches do. And then you would see him on interviews, right? And he'd start talking like crazy, right? He'd start talking like, well, you know, if these guys wouldn't go date so-and-so and so-and-so, and you're like, whoa, this guy is going off on the media. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I mean, like that's what kind of like set him apart, right? Because he would bring up random stuff and they would call him the mad scientist and he would just win games. You know, his success kind of spoke for himself. He really didn't say anything, but his attitude was very nonchalant. He's very easygoing. He's one of the best coaches that I've ever been around. He actually wanted me to come coach at Wazoo, but I chose Texas Tech.
Yep. Hey, Sam, I have a special guest. She has a question for you. It is my wife, Cassie. I'm going to give her the headphone, and I'm going to put the computer on her so she can see you, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Hey, Sam.
Hi, Cassie.
So I have a question. This is just kind of going back to your childhood. So as you know, we have 4 girls, and our oldest is really starting to take off in 2 sports. 1, her daddy's sport. 2, her mama's sport. How did your parents, or how did they react to you as you were continuing to go through trials, I guess I should say? Hey, I want to try this sport, or hey, I want to do this. And how much did they push you? As an athlete myself, I know that my mom didn't understand sports too much, but my dad was my push. He was my number one supporter. But he was like, okay, you can try this sport. Okay. How did you like it? Do you want to keep going with it? Those types of things. And then when I found my niche, the one that I wanted to stay with, I pursued it through college. But I also had siblings, and my siblings were like, well, if you can pay for her to do this, then you can pay for this for me, or, you know, all those types of different things that kind of came up that siblings can do to you, I guess I should say. So with that being said, we have one that loves softball and basketball. We have one who's falling in love with dance. I'm not a dance mom. I'm a sports mom. So this is really, really hard for me. But she wants to continue, and dance is very expensive. I don't know if sports are as expensive as dance, but so far dance is more expensive. But just how did your parents push you? Did they allow you to try different things? Did they push you to do just that one sport, or what? How did they do? I guess is my question.
Yeah, of course. Well, for me, it was funny. Even though I would like to say my parents were like the most easygoing parents, like that allowed you to kind of just do whatever you want. It wasn't like that. I try to ask my dad that I wanted to join band, and he looked at me crazy and he said, "What are you doing? You're going to play football, right? We talked about this a long time ago." And this kind of takes me back to when we first sat down as a family. And these are one of the things and one of the practices that we continue to do today, is we'd all sit together in a circle and we take maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and share each of our own personal opinion, or we have that time to talk, right? So my dad, as he leads this practice, he says, "Hey, what would you guys like to do with your life?" And I think I was maybe like 5 years old. And my brother's probably like 6, my older brother. And my older brother's a leader. He's just a natural leader. He's like, I want to do this, right? Just very confident in what he does. And I'm sure there's a lot of siblings in the family that take charge like that, right? In those settings, I'm not the one to really take charge. In those settings, I'm more of the follower, right? However, if we're up and we're doing something, I'm kind of the one to take charge. Like, oh, let's go over there, or let's do something like this. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it, right? I'm already in it. Like, let's go. But in this kind of setting where we're sitting down, my brother's like, well, I want to play football. And like, everybody's like, okay, what about you, Sam? And I'm like, oh, I want to play football too. I was just following. I was following the leader, and it kind of just trickled down. Like, everybody wants to play football. So I think when I came up to him in maybe like 7th grade, I was like, hey, I want to try out for the band. And my dad looked at me. He's like, what? No, you are playing football. Now, I'm not going to take away the fact that this like training, like the training and the encouragement process that goes on behind closed doors, those are the key points. Those are the like the little, like the diamonds that you collect, like those little like coins, like those are things that you can't take away. That's going to like create the bond. It's going to make the bond stronger. It's going to increase the level of relationship that you have with like whoever it is, mom or dad or whoever might be engaging in that activity, right? Whatever that is, it's going to strengthen. So I guess my thing is, what made me better at the sport was hearing how good I was getting. Every single time we would practice, even though I would try to analyze, like overanalyze and critique myself of like, maybe I should do this, or maybe I need to get better at this. At the end of the day, when I went into his bubble, he said, hey, you're getting better. You're getting good, right? You're doing a good job. Like, this is how I see you becoming like one of the best players. You need to keep going against that guy. Don't let him, I know he's strong, but don't let him like push you around. Don't let that get to you. Right. And I think that's him, right? Just constantly being more of that foundation to where I'm like, yeah, I don't have to really think about what I need to do. I just need to continue to get better. Right. Because people, or as a kid, right, people like to break down and say, no, try this or try that, or maybe you should go in this direction and maybe you should try curving that way, right? At the end of the day, I think those are relevant to teaching points and like helping them, guiding them and showing them direction. But it's ultimately like the fundamentals, like the emotional aspect of it all. Because as they're growing, they are absorbing, right? They're not functioning. They're just taking everything in. So my word of advice is just to keep encouraging them. Put your arm around them every single chance you get whenever they are doing good and whenever they are hard on themselves, right? Just put your arm around them and say, hey, you're doing great. You are making such an improvement. I love what I saw today, and highlight some of the things that you yourself kind of surprised with, right? Oh man, even though I see a lot of people performing at a higher level, wow, you did so much better than yesterday. You are keeping up with the entire group. Maybe the day before, they were all the way in the back, who knows, right? It's the little things that help them understand, like, I have somebody on my side, right? I have somebody that I can improve with, that even though I'm struggling, I know somebody's right behind me to say, I see you and I'm there with you.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right. So, see, when I tell you guys that, the Fehokos give great advice, they give good life lessons. They're a great family. They really are. I know we're coming to the end of our show with Coach Fehoko, and then Matt, Hank, and Shannon are going to talk a little more. But I'm going to do this, Sam. If you could let everybody know how they can maybe follow you on social media, and see if they can, what is the best way for them to give a shout out to you and to your family. Let them know that they appreciate you and your family. Yeah,
absolutely. If you guys are watching the show, this is such a huge opportunity for me to be a part of it. It's a breakthrough in terms of like my career path, right? A lot of people go on their own journeys, right? And they find something that is passionate to them. And this is one of them. So first and foremost, I'm grateful for the opportunity to be on the Sportz Nutz show with all these radio hosts that are playing a key role in helping me and identifying what I will bring to the table in the near future. But shout out. I mean, my social media is there on Instagram. I am on Instagram. You can type in my name. You can find me there. If there's anything, I know there's a lot of people that have hit me up about kids. Continue to send them. Continue to send them. I've got in touch with most of them, and I think according to like our policies, we can still communicate with them before signing day. But send them. I will get the information over to our staff. They'll look it over and they'll make an analysis of it, and I'll be glad to assist in any way I can. Here in Division II, it's a lot more opportunistic. So I mean, we have a variety of ways that we can get your kids financially ready for a college education. So it's some of the things that I'm learning as well. But yeah, I'm grateful once again for the opportunity. If there's anything that you guys need as well, Sportz Nutz, man, you let me know. I'll shout you guys out to the fullest.
Well, I mean, you could teach us how to do the haka.
I mean, you saw me do the beginning of it, but I couldn't do the whole thing. So I was like, look, no, I'm just old enough. I saw that rugby. The finals between South Africa and New Zealand, All Blacks. So when you talked about that kind of sparked my interest. I'm like, yeah, I've seen that. I saw that. That was in 1995. I wasn't even a teenager yet, but I did see it. So,
all right. So Sam, I got to ask you, whose idea was it to do the haka in front of your brother? Was it you or your dad, or was it your brothers combined? All of y'all said, let's do the haka.
It's crazy when it happens like that. It's more of just like the moment, right? If you've seen a couple other videos that have like surfaced on social media and stuff like that, it's like through weddings and people catch it and they're like, oh snap, But it's it's a high level of emotion that's like running through your veins. Like you can feel it. Like the pulse is just all up through your arms. I mean, running through the middle of your chest, and then the spirit. The essence of a haka is calling the ancestors, right? And the story behind the haka, I'm sure you guys have heard about it, but it's about a warrior, and the warrior, he dies. He ends up, well, he doesn't die, but he gets sentenced to death in his village, in the prince's village, because he wants to marry the princess in New Zealand. So the chief of the village throws him in this pit, right? They dig a hole in the ground and they throw him in the pit to die the next morning. They're going to take him out and they were going to like bash his head in. Okay. Well, the whole entire night, this is the story, like in New Zealand, is like he's doing the haka, like he's screaming at the top of his lungs, like, if I get out of this hole, the translation is a man and a woman is supposed to be together. Bless me with the spirit to give me the power to help me fight. So legend says that he gets out, he kills the entire village. He kills them.
Oh wow.
And he's never to be found again. And it's just a story in New Zealand. I mean, you can see a bunch of translations, there's a bunch of interpretations of the haka, but that's like one of the original war dances is his in a battle to fight for his love.
Wow. Every time UH does it, which by the way, my wife's wanted me to share this with you. She wants me to get all my girls. I think she wants to get Matt and Hank and Shane as well. We all got to learn the haka now, but I've had the privilege of getting to see it done for UH. Of course, they changed it to the ha'a because of like copyright and stuff, but it's still it brings like a sense of like chills over you. I can remember watching them do it at the University of Florida game. The whole stadium in Gainesville heard the entire football team doing the haka. That brings chills to everybody who sees it, who witnesses it. It's just a whole different ballpark experience. And, I can remember many times like ESPN was like, oh, hey, we got to turn this on. They would pop it on immediately to watch UH do the haka. And, when I saw you and your brothers and your dad do it for Braden when he was at LSU, that brought that absolutely brought chills to my spine. I was like, this is awesome. This is how it goes. This is true warrior spirit. And the rest is history. Braden has done phenomenal things. Real quick, I know we were talking about it. How does it feel knowing your brother is like 60 feet tall now and like the Macho Man built? You said you could still take him, though, didn't you? I had to throw it out. I had to do that for you.
It's funny because as an older brother, you have to be like, you can't take no for an answer. Like, don't be the soft, even if you are like an older brother and you're soft, don't ever give in to the fact that they can take you. No, it's just a mindset. You're older, you're wiser, you can do it.
And you're absolutely right. So with all of my step siblings have siblings and my biological sister, I'm the baby of 8. It's hard to believe I'm the baby, a 40-year-old baby is what I am. Matt, hush. I'm calling Matt out. But
I am the oldest, so I know what you mean.
But it's fun getting to see the love you guys have, the enjoyment you guys have as a family, and we're there. So I'm telling you now, Sam, we're going to be there. We will come hell and high water. We're going to try our hardest to be at least one of your games, all of us there, so we can be extra loud, extra proud, and screaming as loud as humanly possible. Sound good?
Sounds like a plan.
All right, well, guys, before we let Sam go, Matt, what do you have as your final goodbye to him?
Oh no, man! Good luck this upcoming season. I will say, from what my interactions with you, when I'm seeing you're a very humble guy. But for this one time, I just want you to be very, 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 very cocky and just kind of let us know, how, what is going to be the highlight of your defense. And what I mean by that is, what part of this defense is going to stand out the most?
Well, we're going to start off by hitting people. We're going to win. We're going to win on defense. We're going to create turnovers. We're going to take people out of their misery. Like, seriously. Like, when you see Northeastern State linebackers flying sideline to sideline, you're going to know that we're coming for you. We're headhunters. We're going to be firing on all cylinders. We're going to be the ones dictating the outcome of the game.
I like that. What about you, Shane?
Man, hey, as always, great to have you on, man. It's been a pleasant conversation. I love the interaction that we've had together. But man, I want to know, all the talk with family and stuff like that, man. And then of course I know that you said that you had a nephew. I got a couple of nephews myself, and that's kind of what suckered me in coming up to the upstate. We went by a little baseball training facility, and my nephew said, "Hey, Uncle Poops is going to coach me there." So hey, I'm not getting any younger, and they're getting older. So, but man, with the family and everything, what kind of do you look forward to? Kind of sharing with a lot of these players, as you said, coming, to the smaller school. I've heard about the school. They're, they've been a football powerhouse in the past. But, what kind of do you look forward to and instilling in them as kind of that, family aspect, and then kind of the winning culture that you guys have had there?
So I know this is an opportunity for us as a football program to escalate it to the next level. When you're at a Division II, when you haven't been winning, the only thing to do is go up and continue to find success. So the room for improvement that you're looking for is limitless. And I think that's what is going to be so exciting about coaching a handful of guys that don't know what they're really capable of yet, right? That just have something to be a part of right now. That how strong their group is right now is only going to continue to be amplified when the season time comes, because we got all the hands to do it. We got the right people here on staff to make sure this team finds success. And once again, man, there's so much upside to Northeastern State that we'll be knocking doors. Like, we'll be telling people, like, hey, we're here. We come to play.
I'm ready for it. Hank, what do you have to say?
I love your attitude, man. You know, I've been around mostly, you know, like sports radio and other forms of radio for years. And I've seen a lot of guys who may not have, you know, climbed to the same mountain that they wanted to, but I appreciate you, you know, in your story, and that you took lemons and made lemonade, and are in the process of doing that right now. And your relative, you know, I watched him at LSU, and, you know, I think he's probably in his late 20s now, if I'm not mistaken. And I could see like a great spirit in him too, because I have followed him very mildly, only because he's a Steeler, and I've got a reason to watch the Steelers now. But I listened to your story, and man, it sounds like you have a great family, and you have a very positive attitude. And I think that you'll end up inevitably getting what you deserve and want in the first place. So I tip my hat off to you, sir.
Well, I appreciate that. And kudos once again to your insight, right? Because there's a lot of people out there like yourself that are fans, right? That continue to find ways to be excited about something. And for a long time, I sat at home behind a TV screen wanting to cheer for something, wanting to know what's going to be something that helps me, whatever it might be for my next work day, right? It's something that I can look forward to, or something I can represent, right? Whether it's like putting a shirt on with the Steelers logo saying, heck yeah, you know, we won yesterday. Let's have something cool to talk about, right? Something like that. But man, I appreciate you for, telling me that my brother is somebody that you are following, and that you got on your radar. Because once again, man, I think it just goes a lot in correlation with finding out how we can represent ourselves. So with that much support and what you guys are giving out, I can't wait to have another interview, you know, in the near future, saying this is what we accomplished this year. These are the things that we said we were going to do. Now we're doing it. What's the next step? You know?
Oh yeah, we're itching at the butt for that. All right, so what I'm going to say is we're ready to see you guys, you know, kick butt and take names, kind of thing. We you know, football is not for the faint of heart, and you come and you have to give it every down. Every play is important. You know, and it's the old stupid stigmatism of brotherhood. It's a real thing. Brotherhood is a real thing. And, you know, I'm ready. I'm excited. We're ready. We're all excited for what's going to come. And we are definitely going to have you on again. If you would like to, we'd love to have you on multiple times, because we really enjoy it. But
definitely a good update with spring practice.
Yep. We want to hear all the exciting things that are coming. But I will tell you this, please give our best to your family. Say mahalo for coming on. We really appreciate having you on here. You guys are going to do some great things at Northeastern State. We feel it. And, you know, when you feel it, you know things are going to happen, that kind of thing. I will ask this, all right. Before Braden played with Pittsburgh, who was your team? And now that he's on there, you're a Steelers fan, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Steelers fan. I've always thought the Steelers were a cool team to cheer for. And when I went to the stadium on Christmas Day, it was so surreal. People were waving their towels in the stadium, like the emotional level that place was at the whole time. It was unreal. It was magical. It was magical. So being a part of that was pretty cool. My favorite team growing up was the 49ers. I love San Francisco. I played wide receiver in Port Warner. I didn't go back that far, but everybody, he was the most popular guy. Jerry Rice, man. Everybody talked about him. and I played the position.
Absolutely.
So I was like, I like Jerry Rice too.
Ain't nothing wrong with that,
man.
right?
You don't look old enough. Yeah, and you don't look old enough to have watched Jerry Rice play. You must use a lot of moisturizing.
Well, Steve Young was the quarterback at the time, and I remember Steve Young was like a Mormon dude, and I was going to church, and everybody talked about Mormons. So I was like, "Oh yeah, Steve Young, he's Mormon too." Heck yeah! So you just find everything that's relative.
Absolutely.
Fair enough.
Calm down, Hank. Me and him about the same age now.
All right,
You
Sam.
know what?
I won't keep you. We've had an absolute blast. I will say this: tell Braden, get in touch with us. We'd love to have you and him on the next time together, so we can get a perspective from the pro level as to what he is accomplishing and at the coaching level that you're accomplishing, and let's see how we can make both experiences even better. Sound good?
Sound like a plan.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Sam Fehoko, the assistant linebackers coach at Northeastern State. Hey, go Hawks! And Sam, I will talk to you soon. Sound good?
Yes, sir. Go Hawks.
All right, Sam.
Take care. Guys, that was so much fun having him on. Like, I mean, you know, and it really is true. The family is everything. So Linda and Billy, they have, and the whole family, they have the family over everything statement. And it's really true. They are a great family. They're great friends.
Oh, yeah.
Go check them out. If you guys haven't a chance to check them out. I mean, Linda, she's everybody's mom, really. She's a fantastic woman. Billy is everybody's dad. You know, he will call you uncle. He'll call you nephew, and Auntie Linda will call you nephew as well. You know, Matt, what were your thoughts on this whole thing?
I thought we got a lot of good insight from him, from his perspective. You know, that's why I particularly asked him about his upbringing in the whole recruiting process, man, because everybody has their own story, and everybody has their own unique, different story. So I just kind of wanted to hear his. But smart guy, man. I think they'll be very successful.
What do you think, Hank?
Oh man,
did you say Shane or
Hank? Hank. Then Shane.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I heard it. I just didn't want to interrupt Shane.
Oh no, I thought it was Shane. My bad. I got.
Oh man, dude, I think everybody's sleepy tonight. I think we're both sleepy tonight. I know I'm not feeling well, but I'll say this, man. Very positive story. Very, very much the typical Polynesian. He's Polynesian, right?
Yes.
You know, that's a very tight. That's a very tight knit family, and gosh, man, I feel like that there's an example to be made of by listening to him, because this guy could have collapsed underneath his own legs by not making it to the NFL and became one of the most pathetic human beings you'll ever meet. But he didn't. That's somebody I admire. What a man, what a courageous human being, and what a great story he has. And I'm assuming that's his mother in the chat, correct?
Yes. Let me see. Hold on. I can tell you. Yes, that is Linda. I love you, Auntie.
Yes.
Your family is fantastic. Please give Uncle Billy our best. Please give VJ, Whitley, Braden, everybody. Give him all the best. And we love you, Auntie. We really do.
Oh, man. You raised a good kid. You really did.
Yes, you did. All right. So what about you, Shane? What'd you think, man?
Oh man, it was great having them on, man. The value of family, as you guys know, I up and moved for family reasons, so that's kind of a connection. Of course, like I said earlier, we might be around the same age, so I kind of know everything, man. It was great having them on. Great getting that insight, especially as Matt kind of let him lay out for us. His transition from a defensive tackle to a defensive end to a linebacker, which he originally wanted to be, and kind of how the world works full circle, and it's kind of great. You put all the trust in the Lord, and everything works out in the end. kind of deal. So, man, it was great having them on for that, man. I would love to have him back on, man.
Oh yeah, me too.
Questions about that 2008 season when he was a freshman. The Michael Crabtree catch on the sideline and everything.
Yeah, where he tight-roped that little side. Yep, I still have that game, by the way, on my iTunes.
Hold on. Say that one more time. What happened?
So in 2008, it was Michael against University of Texas.
Yeah, against Texas.
Texas
Home
Tech.
in Lubbock with like 6 seconds left. Caught it on the sideline, tiptoed. It was a big deal. I remember watching that at the bar. Finally 20.
Crabtree said he dreamt it.
And this was something that he did against Crabtree.
No.
No.
He was on the same team when they upset number one Texas. At the time with Colt McCoy.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. That's been about what 15 years ago at least, but I remember that now.
Yeah. So
okay.
And Crabtree said he dreamt this is how he was going to win the game. He was going to catch a game-winning pass, and when he caught it, the defender kept pulling him, and trying to pull him off the sidelines. He tight-roped the sideline and went to the end zone and scored a touchdown. And like Brett Musburger, went like bananas, and Kurt Herbstreit was like blown away when Crabtree scored that game-winning touchdown. I still have it on my iTunes. It was a fantastic game. It was, and they were all blacked out uniforms. It was phenomenal.
I was a big fan of Michael Crabtree when he was in the NFL, so I didn't know this. And he was friends. So he was friends with Crabtree, right?
Yep.
So
and as you see, Linda just said you have to have Sam tell you that story about it. That was a pretty amazing experience.
There's nothing to tell. Sam was probably quiet while Michael Crabtree did most of the talking.
Sam's actually laughing right now.
Yeah. Is he still in the? Because he's still.
He's still in the background. Yeah.
Yeah. Sam was probably quiet, and Crabtree was running his mouth as most wide receivers do, and he was no exception. With that being said, I was a huge Michael Crabtree fan, and as an Oakland Raiders fan, my loyalty is about the length of a coin nowadays. But I'm a Raiders fan, so I definitely followed Crabtree during that time, and man, oh gosh, a fantastic player. So I didn't know that about Sam. Okay, that's cool. I mean, once again, I didn't think Sam was that old, right? I mean, Sam's not old by any means, but he looks like he's in his mid-20s, and I'm like, what moisturizing cream is he using? And I need to get recommended for this.
I know. I went to college. I graduated in 2007. I went to college was 2007, 2008. So
yeah.
He might be a year younger than me. That's about it.
Okay. Okay.
So what I encourage you all to do, everybody to do that's watching. Look, we're kind of dwindling down the numbers. That's understandable. We peaked at almost 100 people watching. For all those who did, which I know majority came from Twitter, but most of y'all that watched, thank you so much for watching and listening to Sam. He's a fantastic individual, great family. But I can tell you this: I encourage all those that are still watching right now, go YouTube Sam Fehoko and Haka. You will see him and Billy the Warrior, and I think Whitley also does it with him. You'll see them do the Haka in front of Braden and LSU, and you hear Auntie Linda background screaming loud and screaming proud. So when I tell you guys, and Sam even told you, Hank, you've seen it too. There's something about the Haka that does it right. It gives you like chills of excitement, and you're ready. You're ready. I'm ready. Give me the pads right now, and I'll go out there and play myself. And it's a lot of fun watching it. It means a lot. It's a great tell for all of the Polynesian lifestyle. It's great, phenomenal.
It's brought on by emotion, and then it brings on emotion.
That's right. It really does, and it's special. So I had a lot of fun with watching it. I had a lot of fun with him on there. We're gonna have him on again, obviously, because we have great communications with him. All right, so look, guys, I brought it up to start up the show. Dawn Staley, the highest paid college women's coach ever in the history of collegiate athletics.
Wow.
She gets paid $4 million a year annually. What are your thoughts? And look, Auntie Linda, that's right, call the ancestors. All right, so I'm gonna start with you, Matt. What do you think? Like, this is a big moment for women's sports, right?
And not only that, but it's a huge moment for her, man. As you recall, dating back to when the WNBA first came out in '98, man, she was one of the ones that were at the forefront of it with Rebecca Lobo, Lisa Leslie. She was one of the early statesmen there, or stateswomen there in that league. So to see her go from that to where she is now, man, this has been an incredible journey for her. And you can also see her love of the game. She's always been in it and never left it. But I think it's just the beginning. It's just the beginning. You're gonna start seeing, with the amount of money that these teams are not bringing in revenue-wise, even in women's sports, in collegiate sports, which has always been successful. But they're gonna start, having to pay these coaches to stay, man, because you're gonna start having some really good coaches. I mean, you look at Gino up in UConn. He's been there for forever. So, and that's what, that's what these programs, good programs, like this is what the good programs are going to do. They're going to keep their coaches, And granted, she's not going to be at the top as far as always winning, and she's going to have down seasons. It's going to happen. But right now, man, she's just on a crazy high. So congratulations to her.
That question right there by our good friend Derek. Check them out. Tired Sports Network. Check them out. They have a good forecast. Will South Carolina surpass UConn as the best dynasty? I'm gonna start with you, Shane. What do you think? What do you think that answer is?
Well, I mean, just like Dawn has come into a couple of off years, as Matt had mentioned. I mean, she's there. What's it, 17th season or something like that as a head coach. She's over 660 wins, just over 100 losses, 3 national championships. I'm sorry. Or 2. I forget which one. It's 2 or 3.
Just 3.
Just 3, but 6 Final Four appearances in that same time. I mean, you've got to think of them, especially the way that they've been the past couple of years, as that kind of dynasty. Since we've seen kind of UConn be there on the cusp, but not be able to keep up with it. We've seen the South Carolina teams, the way the UConn teams in the past, they kind of reload and still have that hunger and that drive over kind of the way UConn's been the past few years. Do I think that they've taken over? No. But do I think that they have challenged them for being that top dynasty? We're starting, we always look at it in the men's side as blue bloods. North Carolina, Duke, Kentucky, Kansas. You start to shift on the women's side. Now you see, the kind of blue bloods in the women's basketball side of the Tennessee, the South Carolina, the Kentucky, Baylor, Stanford. You see kind of those true teams that have been able to sustain success throughout. South Carolina did a great thing by keeping Dawn Staley on and giving her this extension. Well deserving of it because of what she has done for. I mean, the women's basketball of South Carolina was really nothing before she came. So she's brought it up to the prevalent level. I mean, we've talked about Asia Wilson. I mean, she came through that program under Dawn, as an MVP of the WNBA. I mean, it's a great program to kind of be under with her leading it. And South Carolina made the right call by extending her for that long, for that much.
I 100% agree. We've even said Asia Wilson could be technically the face of the WNBA because of what she has been able to accomplish. She came from South Carolina. What do you think, Hank? Like, do you think this is just the beginning? Could we start seeing, women's athletic coaches get paid more funding for NIL towards women's athletics? What do you think? You there, Hank? I think he's frozen.
Yeah, it might be froze.
Yeah. Can you hear us, Hank?
Honestly, only time will tell. The sport of college women's college basketball has had kind of a minor popularity for, for the past few years or stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll say this. I think that I think it can only climb higher, and I think it'll only get better. And I don't know. I don't really have much more of an intellectual, way of saying it. It's just, you put in the work, you have a little bit of luck, and you get reaped, and you reap the rewards from it. And that's what's going on right now. $4.3 million is a pretty extreme amount for a contract in college. But guess what? College has been developing these stars and actually having more success as far as like popularity than they have in the pros right now. So there is some value in there.
Absolutely. You're right. You hit the nail on the head on. And look, I'm a huge advocate for women's sports, obviously being a girl dad times 4. And you heard Cassie say that Addison is really taking off and taking a loving to sport. Holden has now started having that itch. Who's my second youngest? She's having it. Well, crazy story, Matt. And I don't know if I told you this yet. About 2 weeks ago, Easton randomly comes up and says, "Daddy, I want to play basketball." And I was like, "Are you sure?" She's like, "Yeah, I want to play basketball. I want to be good like Addison. I want to be on a team like Addison." So that tickles my heart. Of course, Cassie, as you guys heard, she said we have one who's in dance, and dance is very expensive. That is Eastland. Eastland loves dance, and it is very expensive, yes. Well, when I was watching the NFL playoffs last weekend, I spent a lot of time with Aspen. She's my best buddy, and so she was watching football with Daddy, sitting in my chair, which I'm sitting right now. She sat there, and she was probably glued to that TV for a good 15 to 20 minutes, just watching the football and just mesmerized. And that right there shows that sports makes a huge impact, not only if you're a male, but if you're female as well. And I'm excited to see what comes about for women's athletics. Do I think we will see $1 million a year kind of player in the WNBA in our lifetime? Oh, absolutely, I do. I don't think it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Heck, maybe in the next 5 years we could have multiple $1 million a year players just in the WNBA style. I don't know. It's possible. I absolutely believe it's possible. So go ahead, Shane.
Oh yeah, well, we're talking about college basketball, women's side and men's side, WNBA, NBA. Hey, I just wanted to mention this. Saw it pop up today on ESPN where we were watching some of the, I think, Latin America amateur championship. But Dickie V is going to be back broadcasting games. Hey,
yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby. It's awesome, baby.
Yeah. Oh man, gotta love it. For a guy in his age, we associate Dick Vitale, kind of with college basketball and the way that it's come about, especially when you talk about the Duke North Carolina rivalry and the way that they brought college game day to basketball instead of just only football. Battled 4 different cancers over the last 3.5 years. But it's coming back to the booth. So I just wanted to mention that it was on the top of my mind, and I wanted to get it off before we kind of forgot about it. Get more passionate in the other things.
Absolutely. And look, guys, we've had some great like callers in general. Shane, you mentioned it recently. One of the best broadcasters in baseball passed away. And what was his signature line that you told us, Shane?
Oh man, just a bit outside. But
That's
that was
right,
only from the movie. He was also a catcher in the major leagues, so that's one of the things I enjoyed about him. He was with the Milwaukee Brewers forever as an announcer, Mr. Bob Uecker. But just a bit outside will always be iconic.
That's right. It's the most iconic saying from the movie, and look, guys, Dick Vitale, he is He's fantastic. Love everything about him. Shane, you have a comment here from someone named Music Chris. Shane in the house.
Oh yeah, well that's Mr. Chris Sacharda. I used to work with him down there in Sherrall. I haven't really been around there lately and talked to him, so it's good to see you watching, man. I appreciate it. And, give me a call anytime. I think you got my personal number.
All right, so I wanted to bring this up, and then we're gonna wrap it up for the night. We all know what happened with Marshall. They had 36 players into the transfer portal, plus all the graduating and people just leaving the program in general. Well, the Sun Belt Conference was mighty angry actually about it, and they fined Marshall $100,000 for opting out of the bowl game. Which, to be fair, they had been depleted by they were only down to 41 players or something like that. It's really bizarre what happened. Let me ask you this, Matt. Was it well deserved that Marshall got fined, or should the Sun Belt have just swept it under the floor, citing the fact that you literally had almost the entire team go to the transfer portal?
No, absolutely, man. I think they should have definitely swept it under the rug. I mean, what could Marshall do? I mean, their whole team was pretty much just gone. They had no depth.
Mm-hmm.
They hardly had any starters left. I mean, the team was just gone. So, I mean, they definitely should have not swept it under the rug, but they definitely should have at least released a statement saying they acknowledge what's going on, and although they don't condone not playing a bowl game, due to not having enough personnel, won't be played. I think it's a bad move by the Sun Belt. I think they should have let this one go.
I agree. What do you think, Shane?
Well, my thing is the conference is penalizing the school. Is the school going to penalize the player with now the name, image, and likeness deals? Because these players that you're paying money to decided not to go to this bowl game because they wanted to transfer out and, explore other money and stuff like that. It's not the program's fault or the school's fault that these players did that. So now that you're paying players, for their name, image, and likeness, do you bring that back on the players now for the fines? Because that honestly is not that's not something the school projected. They were making money by going to a bowl game, but had to opt out because players transferred, and now they're getting fined. So those players should divvy up the money, in my opinion. Now that we're going to this business model in college football, more so than anything else. So, I think that's kind of where we're going to have to see the schools and the NCAA rule on it, because if I was a school, I'd be coming after the players that opted out to pay back that fine, because that's just ridiculous. Because if it wasn't for them opting out, then they would have been able to play and get that money.
So, Hank, what we're talking about is Marshall. They opted out of playing out their bowl game because they had 37 players leave the transfer portal, and ultimately down to 41 players total on the field, right? Well, the Sun Belt Conference said, you know what, we're very upset with you. They popped them with a $100,000 fine. What do you think? Do you think it was justified, or do you think that they really should have kind of turned the cheek because you didn't have enough players?
Hold on. They popped him a $100,000 fine for what?
Because they opted out of playing out of their bowl game. And because Marshall didn't have, they lost 37 players to the transfer portal.
Yeah. No, I mean, and that's pathetic. And that's one of my beefs with college football. I'm a fan of watching the game, but the behind the scenes politics pisses me off beyond belief. And no, he shouldn't have been fined for that. Just because your students have the loyalty, the length of a coin, it doesn't mean that the person behind the scenes and front and behind the scenes needs to get punished. $100,000.
Yep, the school got fined $100,000 by the Sun Belt.
I mean, that's pennies to the school. With that being said, that's not the point. Your sorry ass students decided to leave because they they're going on a dying ship or whatever. You know, I mean, we were talking about that on Tuesday night. I mean, where's the loyalty to the school? I mean, how many times can you transfer? I mean, I understand, but my opinion, this is why there should be like more serious grounds for transferring if you're a college student as a football player or basketball player.
I like that. You look, guys.
Well,
Bottom line is,
I was bringing up to my dad earlier that Cam Rising, I don't know if he got granted it, but he would have got granted another year ability this year, possibly.
he needs to hang it up. I mean, going on not what this has been his ninth year or whatever, wasn't it?
No, do you realize this? He was in the same high school recruiting class as Trevor Lawrence, who is in his fourth year in the NFL.
That's crazy. that's nuts. Like, well, there's that one tight end that played for. It was Miami. He had like his 10th year in college or something like that.
Oh yeah,
10th year as a player or just as a student?
Yeah,
as a player.
As a player, he got created so many. And the season finally, finally ended, and he was like, "Well, my career is over with." Like, dude, you played freaking 10 years in college. Like, come on, man. NFL players don't play that long.
I thought that there was, you know what? I mean, and my dumbass doesn't know this. I mean, is it eligibility? I thought the eligibility was only 4 or 5 years.
Well, they got
there's like 5 red.
Yeah, you got X1 for COVID.
And then you can get injury. You can get injury.
Medical red shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah, medical red shirts to have another year of eligibility. He tapped out.
Another red shirt that's all kinds of crazy, or gray shirt.
Yeah.
Some stuff like that, man, it's ridiculous.
And didn't get
COVID year. That helped out getting the extra eligibility year.
I'm hoping he got his degree.
He should have had 2 or 3 by now.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
at least
exactly.
He should have his doctorate. He should have his doctorate now.
Yeah, exactly. Or at least have 1 degree because you damn well didn't get paid for it.
You know what would be funny is, he had 10 years of playing, but he's only completing his sophomore year in college. Like that, but I'm not going to put that past because that's a real possibility. I mean, everybody knows what UNC went through for the basket weaving degrees. So, I mean, it happens. We don't know. It's a possibility. All right. So
they had the top defense in the nation. Calm down.
So I wanted to bring this up and I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this. You know, we know betting is real. We know gambling is a very big thing in not only in professional but collegiate sports. However, the NCAA is now looking into the Eastern Michigan and Central Michigan basketball game because there was some unusual wagering activity. It was larger than before, then it was dropped, then large again. Even during the game, they were going back and forth. A lot of discrepancy, and some reports are saying that it could be players involved for point shaving. Oof, not a good look. What do you think, Matt? Good look for Eastern Michigan, or what the heck were you thinking kind of look?
Point shave is never a good look. I mean, granted, it goes on a lot more than what people think, but you know, it's definitely not a good look. No matter what, no matter how you slice it, it wasn't a good look in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Now, but we haven't had a case like this in a long time as far as point shaving. So I'm kind of curious to see what the results will be or what the disciplinary actions will be now. You know, now that, you know, we're in this new age of social media. I don't think we had a case in this new age of social media yet. So we'll see what happens.
What do you think, Hank?
I mean, I agree with Matt. Point shaving is inexcusable. That being said, point shaving is subjective. I haven't seen the game, and I don't know if they were actually. Was he actually like dogging it out there on purpose?
So the way they have it is listed as it's multiple sports books reported the unusual wagering activity. They said they had like random no names pop up and put bets, and then they would change their spreads to this, that. It was just constantly going around. They're having some discrepancies between both institutions. Obviously, you know, if Central Michigan gets hit, that will be like I don't know, you guys remember SMU got the death penalty. That could be a death penalty kind of sentence for both Central Michigan and Eastern Michigan. And regardless, it does not bode well for both institutions.
Yeah, I don't know. Move on to Shane on that one, because I mean,
what do you think, Shane?
Well, I mean, this is my thing on it, and I've become a little bit of a fan of it. Back and forth from South Carolina, North Carolina. Placing a couple bets here or there. But my thought process on it is too. What did they originally set the odds and stuff like that? Why did they get the influx of bets? Well, because Vegas makes mistakes on some of these things, and as prevalent as online betting is now, especially you start looking at spreads and stuff. I mean, we're in a point now where all we have is college basketball and NBA really going on. A little bit of golf on the weekends, but it's not really prevalent because they're playing out in Hawaii or over in Dubai and stuff like that you see. But I mean, it's kind of in a lull. So like people get addicted to gambling, and you can see why. Because if you win any money on a simple bet, I mean, it gets your blood flowing. I mean, it's almost like a tattoo. It can be addicted.
Yes, very true.
So I mean,
well
that's
said.
one of the things you see the lull in the other sports going on. So you wonder if Vegas kind of outbid their hand, and now they're kind of getting back, like saying, "Oh no, we really didn't mean to do this. Something was going on." But then again, with it being so prevalent, can you see it with some of the players getting involved? I mean, that now we have
these radio hosts that are
electronic trail of everything, almost everything. I mean, everybody knows the stories of Michael Jordan being one of the biggest bettors in professional sports, period. But these guys are getting money and they don't know what to do with money. And hey, just a little $10 bet back in high school just became a $1,000 bet because you got money now. And so how they're going to regulate it and stuff like that, I believe it's going to become more of an issue than what it is currently. But who knows, what the story is. They're going to have to dig back and see.
Absolutely. All right, real quick. We have NFL playoffs. They're taking into effect. And we have national championship. I'm going to go around. I'm going to ask you all. We're all going to give our thoughts on the NFL playoffs and the national championship. We'll start with the national championship. Matt, who do you have? Do you have Ohio State or Notre Dame winning the national championship? You're muted, Matt.
Mute.
Oh,
You're
man.
mute, Matt.
No, I have Ohio State teams, man. I just think the team is too talented. Their freshman receivers are just on another world right now. And not to discredit Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame is honestly, I think they overachieved right now. But I can't knock them. They got there. So, but I have to go with Ohio State. I got Ohio State winning this one 42-24.
Ooh, wow, that's a very large discrepancy.
Yes.
All right, Hank, what do you think? Ohio State or Notre Dame?
I concur with Matt. I think that Ohio State had the worst journey getting to the national championship, and I think they had the hardest schedule in college. I've got to give it to Ohio State. I'm not going to predict the score, but I'm not discrediting. For the record, I'm pulling for Notre Dame. I always like the Catholics, but we're gonna. But like Matt said, and I'm saying that they had a much more difficult schedule. That's why Ohio State is going to prevail. I don't think the score is going to be dramatically high like most college games are. But I do see at least a couple, maybe a touchdown and a half, maybe like a 10-point lead in the game when the game's over.
I like it. What do you think, Shane?
As much as I hate to admit it, Ohio State will probably win the game. Now, I am going to discredit this because I am pulling for Notre Dame, but Notre Dame has the defense and the type of offense to basically handle the ball like Michigan did against Ohio State, which gave them problems. It's kind of what they thought Texas would do to them. But hey, it's one of those things that Ohio State's just better. And I hate Ryan Day because I think he dyes his beard. He's got to dye his beard because I've seen gray in it before. I mean,
you had to mention the gray beard.
They have a lot of athletes and will prevail in the game, but I could, it could completely go the other way. That's one of the great things that you see about college athletics is, hey, you never know what's going to happen until they get out on the field or the court and play.
You're right. But my answer is going to be, as much as I hate it, I'm going to cheer on Ohio State. I don't have a dog in the fight in either team, but I'm going to cheer on Ohio State just because they're pretty good. All right. All you're going to do is just give me a quick answer. Houston and Kansas City. Matt, who you got, Houston or Kansas City?
Oh, I'm going to go with Kansas City here.
Hank, Houston or Kansas City?
Kansas City.
Shane, Houston or Kansas City?
I'm going to go Houston. I got belief.
I actually want to say the same. I'm going to go with Houston, pulling a rabbit out of the hat and being Cinderella. All right, Washington.
Brave souls.
Yes. Washington taking on Detroit. Matt, who you got?
I'm going to go with Detroit on this one.
Shane, who you got?
Lions all day.
Hank, who you got?
Detroit.
I think Detroit spanks them. Like, I wouldn't be surprised, like a 42-10, just because Ben Johnson is like elite. He's going wherever Ben Johnson goes, he's going to make any team instantly better. And meaning, if he goes to a 2-win team this year, they could win 5 or 6, even 7 games next year. That's how much improvement he will be. I say Lions all
Listen
day.
up, Jerry Jones.
All right. Rams and Eagles. Matt, Rams or Eagles?
I'm going to go with the Eagles on this one.
Hank, Rams or Eagles?
I'm going to go with the Rams on this one.
Ooh, wow. Okay. All right. So what about you, Shane? Rams or Eagles?
I say Eagles, but closer than expected.
I say Eagles, and I'm right there with you. I think it's I wouldn't even be surprised, like a field goal kind of difference. So It's going to be a good game. All right. So the final one of the divisional round is Baltimore and Buffalo. Matt, I'm going to start with you. Baltimore or Buffalo?
This going to be a good one. Where are they playing?
They're playing at Buffalo. It's going to be 14 degrees, and they have lake effect snow warnings going right now.
Dang. As much as I think that Baltimore actually has the better overall team. I think just the fact that they're playing in Buffalo. I think the Bills are going to eke it out by a field goal.
I think the Buffalo Bills win by like a touchdown. All right, Hank, Buffalo or Baltimore? Who you got?
I'm going to give the edge to Baltimore. I think they just have a more well-rounded offense.
I mean, they do. They really do. They have an MVP caliber quarterback.
They do, but they're playing in 14-degree weather.
Don't think I didn't think about that.
Give it to Derrick Henry and call it a day.
What do you think, Shane?
Well, I'm pulling for the Bills. I'm going to go ahead and lay that out there. I want a Bills-Lions Super Bowl. I think it'd be great to see. And I'm going to pull for the Bills just because I got a bunch of friends and family that pull for them. But if it's that cold and the weather gets involved, the running game between Lamar and Derrick Henry is unstoppable, especially when you're condensing the game down into the trenches and taking advantage of the clock in the cold weather. Baltimore's got the edge in that. But I do think it's going to be one of those epic kind of playoff games that people might talk about for years.
I agree, and I'm still saying the Buffalo Bills. Look, the Buffalo Bills have the worst curse possible. The only professional sports team to go to 4 straight championship games, both your conference and the Super Bowl. You lose 4 straight times in the Super Bowl, but you win 4 straight conference championships. Just in the day. Look, Bills Mafia. I tip my cap to you guys. Are a phenomenal fan base. Love it. I would like to see Buffalo and Detroit. Honestly, I really do. And it's going to be a good because Detroit's never been to the Super Bowl, and Buffalo has never won the Super Bowl. So one of those we've had to give. It's going to be an interesting matchup. I don't think Kansas City's going to win. I really don't. Kansas City has shown they're pretty flawed this year, so we'll see. All right, guys, we've had a fantastic episode. We bent your ear for an hour and 56 minutes. I mean, guys, we had a great guest on, and Sam Fehoko, and I do have confirmation that the entire Fehoko crew did watch, so we had a lot of fun with them. I cannot say thank you enough to him and the entire family for coming on our show and talking sports with us. We love it. We had a lot of fun. We are going to cheer on Northeastern State University, and we will definitely have Sam on again as well because he gives really good insight, really positive individual, just a great around human being, and his parents have done phenomenal work. I love them to death. Auntie Linda, I love you. Uncle Billy, I love you guys as well. Mahalo for letting your son come on our show. We really appreciate it. All right, guys, I want to let you know, Tuesday, Matt, you're going to actually really enjoy having this gentleman come on. Mr. Brian Gephardt from 680 The Fan is blessing us with his presence again. Hey, for those who don't remember, Brian is a really good friend of ours. He had a lot of great interaction with him. Him and I talk regularly. I'm looking forward to having him on. Cannot wait for that. So he'll be on Tuesday. We are so close. We have a couple who are biting. I got to talk to Abe and just to kind of finalize if it is the 24th of January or if it's the 31st. I'm going to try and get Abe to come on one of those two. Matt, Abe Gordon times 4. This will be the 4th time he comes on.
Hey, man.
We have a great time with him every time. So
he's always welcome. Always welcome, man. He can come as many times as he wants here on the show.
That's right. And then look, Hank, folks, for those who don't know, Hank, myself, and Matt, we have been working very hard at this. I did get a reply back today, Hank. He wants me to call him. So I'm going to call the school and talk with him. Coach Bob Swank, Chamblee High School. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know what's going on at Chamblee High School, Ed Reed, NFL Hall of Famer, Baltimore Ravens, is the offensive coordinator. I got one for you better, though. The running backs coach is no other than Jamal Lewis, another former Baltimore Ravens. And guys, if I told you a three-headed monster is possibly going to happen, Coach Swank is actually having him and Ed Reed and Jamal talk to Ray Lewis to join his staff. And if that's the case, we will have I'm Matt, be prepared. You and me and Shane, we're going to hop in the same daggone car and we're going to go to Chamblee. Like, look, let's get all three of you on our show at one time. And then, folks, so stay tuned for that. There's a very real chance we could have Ed Reed, Jamal Lewis, and maybe even Ray Lewis on the show. Cannot wait for that.
Oh.
So we have a lot of possibilities going on that one. What's up, Hank? What's up, Hank?
No, I'm still in shock. I'm a huge Ray Lewis fan.
Hey, it's a very real possibility it happens. So I'm excited to see if we get him. I hope we do. I really hope we do. I think we will. Just because Coach Swank is a very good, humble person. And Matt, Chamblee High School is only like hop, skip, and a jump away from you. So ain't too far from there.
10 minutes, like 10 minutes up the road.
Yeah. Ain't too far. So, and then Maddie Hudak, the SI beat writer for Tulane, she'll be coming on soon in February. Alabama Punishers Arkansas Punishers are finalizing a date to come on our show. Looking forward to having them. So we have a lot of stuff going on, a lot of big guests lined up, and we're only getting started. Season 3 is only a few episodes into it. So, guys, with that being said, for our good family friend Sam Fehoko of Northeastern State University and the entire Fehoko Ohana, which means family in Hawaiian, we say thank you so much for them coming on. I'm going to start with you, Hank. Hank, what do you say to these lovely people?
Man, what a great show. What a great family. I was honored to talk to Sam. And yes, I know about his relative. And I am just so stoked to hear the possibility of from what I hear, the rumor is that possibly the Steelers defense watched the show tonight. So if y'all did watch it, thank you, gentlemen, for watching us.
Yes, indeed. My man right here, Mr. Shane Owen. What do you say to these lovely people, sir?
Oh man, as always, it's been a pleasure. Go like, follow, subscribe. Whatever you want to do, support us. We'll be able to get great content like we saw tonight. Completely in debt for these opportunities, but the good Lord makes them willing. And as always, it's peace, love, and bacon grease.
Yes, it is. Peace, love, and bacon grease indeed. All right, my man right here, Mr. Matt Thomas, the silent horse. How are you doing, sir? And tell everybody what you love to say to everybody.
Oh man, of course, guys. Like I tell everybody, man, be safe out there. No matter what you do, be safe. Don't get flagged. If you're gonna drink and drive, stay alive. Call an Uber. Just stay out of trouble this weekend, guys. Enjoy it. So much football on. So much meaningful football is on this weekend. So don't ruin it by making a stupid mistake. So just be smart, guys. Be smart and don't get flagged.
Yeah, don't do something stupid. Look, we know it's the weekend. It's an extended weekend for everybody because of Martin Luther King Day on Monday. So spend time with everybody. Enjoy it. Be safe. Be smart. If you're gonna drink, don't drive. Guys, I will be at the. About a couple weeks ago, I decided to tell my wife I was going to take Addison to a Furman basketball game, and so we have to take Addison's little Furman turkey because Coach Richie wants to see the Furman turkey, and our good friend Dan Scott and Tom Van Oy, the voices of Furman Paladins basketball, are looking forward to getting to see the turkey after all. So I will, if you're there and you see me, just say hey to us. That's all. That means a lot. We love having people come up and say, "Hey, my daughter is a Sportz Nutz." She'll tell you she is. So check us out. But that being said, guys, peace up. 8-10 down. Look, literally is the best sports city ever. We have, look, Falcons make the moves. All right, Matt. By the way, Matt, do you want Steve Wilkes or do you want Robert Sale? What do you want?
Oh, man, you know what? Let's go with Robert. We'll go with Robert Saleh, man. We're gonna do that.
I like it. Guys, have a great weekend. We will see you on Tuesday. And as usual, have a great weekend. Take care. Bye-bye.